Hello everyone, welcome to another build guide. This weekend there was another SSF tournament and the skill that was required to be played was Harvest, this ability. I decided to make a Lich and make Harvest the center of my build and go for a melee approach, crit build, and it's really fun. We were not able to win the tournament since Tank completely destroyed us playing Necromancer and playing minions, but you know, we did 300 plus waves. It's a really fun build to play, really good, really fast doing monoliths, and overall pretty great build. It is pretty cheap to build and really fast, so we can show it a bit how it works. The build relies about you turning into, you can see right now my necrotic, it's a necrotic build. We have 200 increased damage, but thanks to our different abilities, we can get this necrotic damage to completely go like crazy, as you can see, thanks to our different abilities. So we can go over it. In this build, you're gonna be stacking intelligence. The reason you want to be stacking intelligence is because if you read what Harvest does, Harvest gives you melee flat damage per point of intelligence, and it only has a 70% damage effectiveness. What that means is that damage from your weapon, it's only being applied at 70% effectiveness, but you are getting one-on-one exchange as flat damage with intelligence. So if you had 50 flat damage on your weapon, instead of getting 50, you're only getting 35. But if you have 50 intelligence on your gear, you're getting 50 flat damage. So I decided to, normally, I always recommend crafting flat damage on your weapon. But for this one, we want a different approach. And we try to get our flat damage with intelligence and build different stats on our weapon. In this case, we went for the melee crit chance to make sure we reach 100% and a shit ton of attack speed. So we attack really fast. The idols you want are the damage well transformed. This will help you a lot get a lot of necrotic damage, like I was mentioning, when you transform and you dead seal. And if you can also get increased cooldown when transplant. Transplant is this ability. Normally it's a 4-second cooldown, but if you have 4 of these bad boys rolled at 17 or 18, plus the necrotic damage when plus the damage when transformed, you can get this ability to 2 seconds basically. And it gives the ability, the build way more mobility and way more like outplay potential, because this ability can be used to outplay, and it's overall really fun. We are also utilizing Harvest with the enemy marks take 90% more damage. This is multiplicative, and so we're using Bone Cores in order to proc that. When we use, you can see if I'm hitting an enemy, I hit for 3000, but if I Bone Curse them, we hit for 11,000, and if we use all our combo together, obviously the damage goes even higher. We can reach 30,000 crits, which is kind of like pretty good damage if you wanna be clearing the monolith and 300 arena plus, etc. I mean, this build, obviously, keep in mind, as an SSF character, our build could be way better. We could have like, you could reach like 100 intelligence, you can get crit multi on your weapon instead of base crit. Once you get good gear and you don't need the base crit to reach 100% crit. So, the build has still, I think you can probably double this damage if you went full investment with really good gear, really good idols. You can probably double this damage. But it's a pretty decent damage. On the note of the passives and so on, and how to level the build, it's also pretty straightforward. When you level as an acolyte, these points are pretty great because you get intelligence, which is damage for our build, and necrotic resistance, which is gonna be really nice. Some damage, vitality is good. The reason you want to stack HP in this build and vitality, which is gonna be our main defense, is because we are gonna try to get our endurance threshold as high as you can. So you can see endurance threshold, you take less damage when you're in that threshold, right? Like the yellow bar. So the idea is like that when you use Reaper and you use Death Seal, your HP is gonna be, you could reach a point where you're locked into your threshold. So even though your HP is really low, your HP is really effective and it's really tanky. The build has a lot of lifesteal, so even though your HP is always really low and it feels like a kamikaze playstyle, you're actually super tanky thanks to these synergies. So keep that in mind. Again, if you want to see gameplay, I'll upload the 300 push, or at least part of it, on a different video, so you guys can see how the build is actually played and how it feels. But yeah, you know, you just get a bit more of damage here and there just to reach 20 points, so you can go move into the Lich. And into the Lich again, since we're gonna be sealing our life at lower than 30% HP, it's really good to get this Dance with Death, because you're gonna be getting 40% damage times 3, since you're gonna be low life when you're fighting. The Intelligence, again, this is 16 flat damage, 16 Intelligence, really good. Necrotic damage, because we're doing necrotic damage, pretty straightforward. Vitality for the same reason what that I mentioned, we want HP. Intelligence for the flat damage, we want the crit chance and the attack speed, because we want to attack fast. Crit multi, this is a crit build, so crit multi is damage. Flat damage for our spells, since the Death Wave of Death Seal is also doing a bit of damage, and this will give us 15 or something like that flat damage for our Harvest. The penetration, because it's 30% more damage. Less damage taken on necrotic and physical when we potion. So basically when we use a potion, we're gonna get a shit ton of mitigation for physical damage and necrotic damage. Physical damage is really scary when you're playing a melee build, since most enemies do a component of physical damage. So these points make you really immortal when you potion for 4 seconds. And this is our attack speed and our lifesteal. More lifesteal, some intelligence here. You could balance around how many points you put here. If you put too many points here, you're gonna see that your life is gonna decay really fast. It's a bit dangerous. But I would probably put the rest of my points either here or just get a bit more crit chance. But it's kind of like up to you. And then for skills, Bone Curse is we're basically using it as a utility skill and to make our or Harvest do more damage. So we're making it basically be able to recast when we use hits. Mark of the Dead is gonna make the enemies have 25% less protections, so it increases our damage. It slows the enemies, chills the enemies, and applies a lot of armor shred. So this will basically help a lot with single target and just like making our Harvest do the bonus damage to cursed enemies. For Harvest, we're going for the full necrotic shred and the complete damage conversion to necrotic damage. Again, this is a damage necrotic build, so this will make any damage that you're getting from anywhere, weapon, idols, passives, whatever, make sure it's necrotic. And this is obviously really good because you only need to worry about scaling necrotic damage and nothing else. Make sure the area is big, because otherwise this ability is really small and really awkward to play. Base crit, you could get more points here if you can, if you need it to reach 100% crit chance, but at the moment I don't need them, so I decided to go for the health per point of intelligence. And again, the damage on cursed enemies. This is basically what makes you do. This basically doubles your damage pretty much. Transplant, again for utility. There's a pretty cool interesting things about this ability. The best thing is that it has an execute at 20%, which is really high and really good for, you know, if a boss is left with 20. This works on campaign bosses. It's like a cult basically, and really good. We made it necrotic, so it scales with our necrotic damage. And the detonations, basically when you use this ability, you're gonna see a bunch of numbers pop, like all the white numbers. Basically all of these detonations are hits, and they will apply everything you have. For example, from Bone Curse, you know, they will apply the armor shred, they will apply armor shred or frailty or chill, slow, anything that you have on your gear. So basically this is a really good ailment stacker and an executor. And also you also have like the heal on the Pulse of Blood. You can see if I walk over this pool, you can see the big heal. So this is really good while you're brawling, you know, you're fighting, boom, 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 you dash on top of it, and then you walk over your pools, right? And you get the massive heal. Obviously, you are not gonna heal too much when you are dead sealed, but you can see like the burst of heal you can get is really high, especially when you're fighting enemies, like I mentioned. And really cool, really cool feature, the fact that you can just like walk over your. You can see there I'm using it on top of me already. If you top on top of you insta proc it, but if you do it like this, I don't know, I think it's really cool, the fact that you can heal like that. If you transplant on top of it, it's basically like an insta-proc. But really cool. You can see the big heal there. The big heal. And then for Reaper, we're going for the crit chance, the movement speed, the attack speed, the critical strike multiplier, and the less drain. This gives you a shit ton of damage, a shit ton of crit. And when your life goes grey, you basically have like a second HP bar. So if you're sealed and you're fighting like this, and something hits you and makes you lose your life, you will go back to like the red state with a full HP bar. So this build is really friendly for hardcore, precisely because you have basically 2 lives. A lot of people think, like, when they see the playstyle, I think, oh my god, this sounds really squishy, sounds really greedy, but it's actually super tanky just because, and super safe because you have the 2 lives of Reaper form. Normally, one bad thing about the build is that you're really Reaper form dependent. So if you are in arena, you're in the monolith, and you are out of your Reaper form, you basically run around for 20 seconds or whatever if you have cooldown on your helmet for like 15 seconds until you have your Reaper back, and then you run around in circles trying not to get hit. Be careful. Make sure you're casting your Pulse of Blood to slow enemies behind you, because if enemies walk over it, they will get slowed, and then you transform again. And then for Death Seal, you want the seal at 33 to make sure that you benefit from the increased armor and the increased damage. And you want the dam stacks, so you make sure that your death wave does a lot of damage. This is pretty straightforward, and the duration helps, so you can brawl. This makes your health drain effects not take place while you're sealed, which is really helpful if you're gonna grab some of those passives that drain your health when using potions in order to do more damage, etc. Really handy. And again, another good thing is like you get more armor when you death seal per missing health. So you can see right now when I death seal, because my health pool is pretty big now, like we're getting quite a bit of armor. If you had a 3000 HP pool, obviously your armor would be even higher. So you can probably reach like 2000, 2500 armor if you have like a best in slot build. So again, it's a really fun build. If you want to see everything optimized for this build, in the planner or whatever, what blessings to get, all of that, you're gonna have it in the description. Ideally, you want a Sophnia and not a Ranisur, but whatever. Really cool build. I got these really nice boots this tournament. I'm definitely keeping these ones for softcore. We'll see what we craft on them on the prefix. I didn't want to risk it, but yet. But again, really fun build to play. Again, really mobile. You have like your double dashes, and it's overall like really good. Like the fantasy of the class, of being the Grim Reaper and just killing shit. I don't know, it's really cool. It's not gonna be better than poison versions of this build, because poison is way better for Lich, I think, in general. But it is a really fun playstyle, really unorthodox. I haven't really seen people make builds like this, so I thought I would try something different for the tournament. And again, it does 300 waves, so a build that can do 300 waves is definitely on the good side. It's definitely not a weak build. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and bye bye.